you ready?
I'm ready to go, yes. So, what is a presidential election? This is when we vote for the new president. Voting is when you choose the person or thing you think is the best. Why is important to vote? Voting is a way to have your voice heard. Voting gives you the power to make a difference.
It's incredibly important.
Yeah, it's incredibly important.
Have your voice heard.
Can you vote in the presidential election? You must be aged 18 or older, an Irish citizen living in Ireland, and to be registered to vote.
Yes. And in fact, we know we have some younger people watching this evening, so it's really great to watch and even just to find out about it as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. Now I will speak about the slide actually, because this is our first time trying to do this, and we'd love to hear what people think about it. It's that piece there, Conor, on how to know if you are registered. Yes, I mean, now, one of the ways is you can check your website, Sarah and Ryan. There's the link to it. It's check the register. And again, we'll have that at the end of the presentation. Now, you can sit back and relax, or some people would like to try this. Now, Conor, we tried it, and we know with the National Advisory Council, we tried it. This is a QR code, and if you have your phone, if you go onto the camera and you hold it up to that picture there with the dragon in the middle, the QR code, it should bring you to that website. Okay, and again, we will be sharing that at the end of the presentation, and it will be up on our website. And the last day to register is, there's still time. It's next week, the 7th of October. So if you haven't registered, please do go and check the register. So back to you.
When do we have our presidential election? In Ireland, we have our presidential election every 7 years. Our presidential term is for 7 years. President Michael D. Higgins was the president for 2 terms, that is 14 years. Now it's time to vote for a new president. Who can be a candidate to be president of Ireland? A candidate in the presidential election is a person who wants to be elected to be the president. A candidate must be aged 35 or older. A candidate must be an Irish citizen who lives in Ireland. Who is the president of Ireland now? Michael D. Higgins is the president of Ireland. He became the president in 2011, and that was 14 years ago.
I'd say a lot of people watching probably, they do know the president already. Yeah.
What is the role of the President of Ireland? The role of the President is the work the President has to do. The role of the President is the responsibility of the President. The President of Ireland is the head of Ireland. This is a very important role. What does the President do? The President represents all the people of Ireland. The President is the voice of all the people in Ireland. The President represents us at events in Ireland and other countries. The President makes speeches. What else does the President do? The President welcomes visitors to Aros Anuteron. The President lives in Aros Anuteron. This is in the Phoenix Park in Dublin, and as you can see the photo below. The President appoints the Taoiseach. The Taoiseach is the leader of the government. The Taoiseach is Micheál Martin. The Taoiseach and the President have different roles. The Taoiseach and the government make important decisions for Ireland. And as you can see the photo beside, with Micheál Martin and Michael D. Higgins. The President and the Taoiseach work together. The Taoiseach advises the President on who should be members of the government. The President appoints people for other important roles like judges. The President and the Taoiseach work together to decide other things like when it's time for a new government, when it is time for important meetings. What are the responsibilities of the President? The President agrees and signs new laws. A law is a rule that the government makes.
And there as well, Conor, we put up this QR code because we were chatting about it before and we think it's very, very interesting, but we just don't have time to talk about that this evening, how laws are made. So like if anybody's interested, they can use this QR code or again, watch after the recording. Very, very interesting.
What is another responsibility the President has? The government is in charge of protecting Ireland. This is called the Defence Forces. The President works with the government to appoint people to work in Defence Forces roles. And as you can see, the President and the people in the Defence Forces. The first president, here are some interesting facts. The first president in Ireland was President Douglas Hyde in 1938. And oh boy, that was 87 years ago. We have 9 presidents in Ireland.
Now again, we found this very interesting, Conor, but again, we don't have time to speak about it. So we couldn't resist. We put up the QR code. Again, if anybody's interested in finding out about all the other presidents, there's a wonderful website and there's an example there of President Mary McAnally. So very, very interesting, very, very interesting facts.
There are 3 candidates. First one, Catherine Connolly. Second, Jim Gavin. And third, but not least, Heather Humphreys.
And just to remind everybody, we have those links there at the bottom. We have them at the end of the presentation.
Who should you vote for? You should vote for the candidate you think will do the best job. You should vote for the candidate you think will represent you best. It's your choice.
It's your choice.
How do you find about the candidates? Posters, leaflets, social media, websites, newspapers.
You've probably seen some posters around as well.
Yeah.
If you watch out, you'll see them more and more.
How can you find out what is true on social media? You can ask a person you trust. And secondly, here are 2 websites to help you use social media.
We were discussing this, like it's a very important point, misinformation, just to make sure what you read on social media is true. And sometimes it can be difficult to know.
Yeah.
So we would say always ask somebody you trust.
And always ask someone to help.
Yeah. And again, two more QR codes, and they will bring you to some really, I think, useful information.
Websites.
You know, on how to be safe, how to know what's true. Very important. Now, will we stop here?
Yeah, and any questions so far?
No, nine.
I must say, I found the presentation is really excellent because it's giving, I think, really all the really important information that people need to have to get ready to choose their candidate or the person that they think should be president. It's really helpful.
Sarah, we did have a few questions actually that came in before
Great.
the evening, and one of the questions, very interesting question there, Conor.
Oh, there was one question about why do you have to be 35 to be the president?
So, all of the rules about the president, so what you need to be, like you need to be 35 and a citizen of Ireland, and also all of his responsibilities and his role, they're all listed out in a document called Bunrucht na hÉireann, or the Irish Constitution. And really, what that is it's essentially like the rule book for Ireland. Okay, it was written a long time ago and it sets out lots of different things in relation to the president, in relation to the government, and in relation to the court. So this part about the president is really interesting because about 10 years ago, Ireland had a referendum, so it's a different type of election. We had one last year as well, guys, on family and care. You might remember that. But the referendum we had 10 years ago was on should we reduce or should we make the age limit for the president less. So the people of Ireland voted, and they voted no, that they wanted to keep it at 35. So the Irish people decided 35 is maybe you have a good level of life experience, you probably have a job or, you know, a family, or you just have more experience to be able to take part in the role in a really full way. Yeah.
So it's choice of the people of Ireland. Actually, we have another question that came in last week, actually, and it was Sarah and Ryan. I'll read this. Should the system of choosing a candidate be changed to allow more people to run? Because now we only have 3 candidates. And so the person who sent in the question thinks that's not enough. So do we need to change the system?
Okay, so there is a lot of talk about this. This is a really popular question, and it is coming up because there are 3 candidates. Now, I suppose to answer the question, if we want to change how many people can become a candidate, we'll need to have another referendum. So the rules that set out how we get our presidential candidate, they're in the Constitution. So they're set out in that sort of rule book for Ireland that I talked about a minute ago. And if we want to change that, the Irish people all have to vote to make that decision. But the government, so Micheál Martin and the government, they will have to make the decision whether to hold that referendum or not. I suppose I should say as well that it's not uncommon that we have only 3 candidates. Certainly in other years, I think in 2011 we had 5, but if you go back to the 1990s, we have had 3 candidates on 2 or 3 other occasions. So I know there is a lot of people who wanted to be candidates and didn't make it, but this isn't unusual for Ireland. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting.
Very interesting.
Now,
And
there is,
I'll just add in there, Sarah,
yes,
sorry if you
go
don't
ahead.
mind. So the way you get nominated as a presidential candidate is by 4 local authorities or 20 members of the Oireachtas. So the public actually votes in those people already. So it's a really good system of democracy. So you vote in for your TDs, you vote in your local councillors. So it works really well. So the public are having their say on how many candidates can get in.
Very good point.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
All right. We have a question, but you've already answered it, Conor, actually.
Yeah.
We've already answered this.
Oh yeah, who does DSI think is the best candidate?
Yeah, who does Down St. Marlin think is the best candidate? We wouldn't say you answered that already, Conor.
Yeah, our
Your own
vote is
choice.
very
It's your own choice.
yeah, it's your own choice. And if you go to vote, it's completely private.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to tell anyone who you vote for. I always think it's really good to talk to your family and your friends about who you might vote for to get their views or to see what they think about the candidates. But actually, when it comes to it and you go in to vote, that's only your choice and you don't need to tell anyone about it. And even if you need, so sometimes if you need a bit of help when you do go in to vote, you can ask one of the people who work in the polling station and they'll come in and help you. But you tell them what your choice is. They don't make any decision for you. You have to tell them who your first choice, your second choice, your third choice is. But it is fully your own decision.
Yeah, it's your choice. So there were the questions. Megan or Ryan, were there any more questions in the chat? Fine.
No, not that I can see. No.
Okay, we'll continue.
Okay, yeah.
Next part, Conor, is really about how to vote.
So how to vote? You would get a polling card in the post. It should look like this. So it tells you when to vote, and it tells you where you can vote.
Yes, and so you should get that in the post, but don't worry if you didn't. You know, you can still go and vote, and we might speak a little bit about that as well. So don't worry if you don't get it in the post. You can still go, you can check in the register to see where your polling station is. Sarah, you might chat about that at the end. Or yes, Sarah, yes, do you want to come in there? That, you know, you don't, it's okay if you don't get a polling card in the post.
So a voting tip. Write down the list of candidates you want to vote for. You can bring this list with you when you go to vote. And number 3, always, if you go on your phone and you have notes on it, you can write down the 3 candidates on your phone. And it's a great way to show your express on the candidates you want to vote for.
Good. Yeah, actually, we should have put that there. You know, write the list or put it on your phone. Because, you know, you think you know who you're going to vote for, and when you go in, you know, you might forget. And that's a great tip from Niamh, actually, in Kildare. And I remember Niamh asked that, I think it was the last election. Can you bring in a list with you? Yes, you can. On your phone, or you can write it.
Yeah. So the place where you go to vote is called a polling station. It is often in a school or a community centre or in the GAA.
There we can see Orla there in County Clare on voting. That was the last election, I think. So again, if anybody has any photos, we would say when they go on voting day, please do send them in to us. So thank you, Orla, for sending that.
So what time can you vote? You can vote anytime between 7 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock in the evening.
Conor, we were just chatting about that.
Yeah.
You know, you can go early in the morning.
Or you can go after work or college.
Yeah, whatever suits yourself.
Yeah.
Some people are early birds. They like to go early. Some like to go late.
You should bring ID with you. Your passport is a type of ID.
And you were saying as well, student card.
Yes,
student card,
you can
Conor.
also bring your student card. At the polling station, the staff will ask you for your name and ID. The staff will give you a ballot paper. This ballot paper has the list of the 3 candidates on it. It looks like this.
There we go. So it looks something like this. It won't be exactly like it. So thank you, Ryan. You made that for us. It'll have 3 candidates.
Sorry, just to let you know, that actually is the real ballot paper. We got it at the last minute, so that's what it will look like.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much for that. I didn't even realize it was the actual real one. So this is fantastic. We know what it looks like. So are we the first people to know what it looks like, Ryan? So
yeah, well, it was released today by the presidential returning officer, so it's been on social media, but I'd say you're one of the first groups to see it as well.
excellent.
Yeah, and we have it on our website, Sinead. So it would be really handy if people wanted to print it out and practice or whatever, just to familiarize themselves. Yeah.
We definitely will be printing it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then you go to the voting booth where you will fill out the ballot paper.
It would look something like this.
You write 1 in the box beside the candidate you most want to win the election and represent you. You write 2 in the box beside your second favorite candidate. You write 3 in the box beside your third favorite candidate, and so on. It is okay if you only want to vote for 1 person or 2 people. It is your choice.
Now, we didn't put up that, Ryan, the sample you sent us there, because we didn't want to put 1, 2, or 3 because people would think that's what we're telling them to vote for. So we just put up that ballot paper as a practice.
When you have finished writing the numbers on your ballot paper, number 1, fold it up. Number 2, put it in the ballot box. Can you get help in the polling station? Yes, it is okay to ask for help when voting. It is your own decision who to vote for. You can still ask staff or a friend or family member to help you. The candidate with the most votes wins. Keep an eye on the news to see how the voting is going and to see who wins the election.
We'll definitely be watching anyway on the 24th.
Here is an easy read to help you.
Now, again, that's a really wonderful, easy read that was made by our colleagues in Inclusion Ireland. Very, very useful. You can find it on their website, I think on your website, Sarah and Ryan, and I know on Inclusion Ireland's website, and there's the QR code. Again, we have the link at the end of the presentation. You can just see 2 pages there on it, but very, very useful. It's a really interesting guide and very useful on how to vote and all about the election. Oh, now we're going to try our video. So Megan, let us know if this works. Now this is Conor, you made this video last year.
Yes.
About how to vote. Very, very useful. And you can watch it in your own time. You can pause it. So I hope this works now.
Voting is important. We're here to make sure you know how to cast your vote and have your say on polling day. If you are registered to vote, you should receive a polling information card by post. This card will contain the location of your polling station and its opening and closing times. You do not need your polling information card in order to vote, so don't worry if it does not arrive. All of your polling information can also be found by visiting checktheregister.ie or by contacting your local authority. When you arrive at your polling centre, you may have to check which polling station is for your registered address. You can only vote at your designated polling location. This information will be posted on the wall as you enter. Staff will check your name, your address, and may ask for your ID.
Good morning. Can we get your name and ID, please?
Of course, I'm Samantha, and here you go.
This could be a passport, a driver's licence, or one from the full list of valid forms of ID on electoralcommission.ie. You will then receive your stamped ballot paper, and your name will be marked off the register. If the ballot paper is not stamped, please speak to a member of staff before you vote. Take your stamped ballot paper into the private voting booth. Pencils will be provided, but you can bring your own pen or pencil if you wish. When voting in Irish elections, you will see multiple candidates on your ballot paper. Beginning with number 1, you will be asked to rank your candidates in your preferred order. So mark A1 beside your first choice, A2 beside your second choice, A3 beside your third choice, and so on. You can rank as many or as few candidates as you wish. This is up to you. Once you have marked your ballot paper, do not write anything else on it. If you do, your vote may be declared invalid and will not count. When you have successfully marked your ballot paper, fold and put it in the ballot box indicated by staff. Congratulations! You will then have completed your vote. If you have any questions during the voting process, just ask a member of staff for assistance. For more information on Ireland's voting system, please visit checktheregister.ie, contact your local authority, or visit electoralcommission.ie. Brought to you by An Comisiún Dámhaigh, Ireland's independent electoral commission.
Good, that worked.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke about this. That video is just excellent, and it's so good. You can actually watch it in your own time and put it on pause. Now, we spoke about the links. There are so many of them. You wouldn't have time to look at them all there, but there's so much fantastic information out there. It's really, really interesting for anybody who is voting, or we even think sometimes, you know, teenagers who will be voting.
Or adults.
Adults, everybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So lots of information there. The Easy Read, Ourselves in Down Syndrome Ireland, Ryan, Sarah, wonderful links to, you know, you can just go onto your website, but we put some direct links there. They're so useful. Very interesting piece on the government there. Then now actually, this is just quite recent. We're quite lucky to have these. Each of the 3 presidential candidates, they each have a website now. You can find out information there that will help you decide who you're going to vote for. And then this piece here, which is very important for us, on the media literacy and the misinformation. So again, we will be putting that up on our website. That was a final message from you there, Conor.
And the vote is your voice. Use your vote. Your vote is important. Hope you guys are going to be getting the votes in or bring on the presidential election.
And we'll know in a few weeks who's our new president. And there's Nathan, who very kindly sent us a photo, Nathan over in Longford. So again, please do send us in photos of when you are voting from outside the polling station. Now that was it. Again, just a reminder, our own email addresses there. If you want to contact any of us, please do. Or if you have a question for Conor after this evening, I would say, Conor, to contact myself, and I'll pass on the query to you. And I think that was it then.
Yeah.
Conor, excellent presentation.
I think there's a question in the Q&A for you, Conor. How are you such a good speaker? It's from Ross.
Oh, thank you, Ross.
I think that one's for you.
Conor, question for you. How's such a good speaker?
I mean, the main man, Ross. Man, great one there. I'm quite speechless. Thanks, Ross.
That's the practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Conor.
Yeah. Do you know, guys, there was just one thing that I thought of there when Conor was making his excellent presentation. Thank you, Conor. If you're when you go in to vote and you're filling out your ballot paper, if you make a mistake, so if you put a 1 beside somebody and then you think, no, that's not the person I wanted to give my number 1 vote to, it's absolutely no problem. You just go out to the people that gave you the ballot paper and just say, I've made a mistake, can I get another ballot paper? And they will give it to you. Because actually, I didn't know this for a long time. I thought, oh, if I make a mistake on this, it's just a disaster. But actually, it's absolutely no problem to go back out and get a new one.
Very good point, Sarah. And I see in the chat, Sarah, there's a lovely comment there from Lola, who we know actually. Lola, it's in the chat there. And I think, is it Lola? Is it your, I think it's Lola's first time voting. So we're so delighted there's so many more young people. Well, you're all young, but anybody who's just turned 18 or 19, so many now are more interested in voting.
Yeah, it's so important. And actually, we do know that since the general election, which was the last election, 60,000 people have turned 18 and are now eligible to vote in this presidential election. So maybe Lola is one of those 60,000 people. So it's really exciting. And I think your first time voting should be like a celebration. You know, you should find a way to mark it, you know, have a, I don't know, go for tea and cake or something. I don't know. It's a really special part, I think, of becoming an adult, you know.
Sarah, I can tell you with people all around the country, I can see in the chat there, Stephen, I think it's Stephen, that's Stephen down in Kerry, you know, again, another wonderful self-advocate who will be out there voting on the 24th.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Ryan, you put some really useful links up on the chat there as well. So guys, anybody's watching, do keep an eye on the chat there. Ryan, those links that we spoke about, they're in the chat too.
And you have my email, so if you have any questions, feel free to email me or Sarah, and we'll get back to you straight away.
And Lola, I think we'll be having a party to celebrate our first time celebrating.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it, Stephen. We're looking at chat. So yes, any more questions there? Conor, I think you've answered everybody's questions on the webinar this evening, is what it is really.
I see there's one there, Sinead. Can you put a tick or an X instead of a number 1? Or is it important to put a number? So it is important to put a number. But if you do want to put an X instead, it will be counted. Okay, but if you're only voting for one person and you put an X, then that will, or it should be counted. But really, if we could encourage people at all to use the numbers 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you know, it is better to use the numbers.
Really excellent question, actually.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah. And we do see, we see that a lot of people do put an X, but the problem is, if you want to vote for 2 candidates and you put 2 X's, then nobody knows who your first choice is. So then it's not counted and it becomes a spoiled vote, and you don't get to have your say, you know? So it is important to use the numbers if you can at all.
I wonder as well, would you guys mind explaining what a number 2 or number 3 vote means? Like why you're voting for that? Because obviously only one person can be president. So if you vote number 1 for one person and number 2, how does that number 2 come into it?
Okay, so that's the wonderful way we vote is proportional representation, it's called. And what that means is that, so I give my number 1 vote to my favorite candidate. I give my number 2 vote to my second favorite, and my number 3 to my third favorite. If my number 1 vote, the person I'm voting for, if that person gets the least amount of votes, then they are removed. So they're no longer in the running to be president. And you might think then, oh, that's because I gave my number 1 to them and they're not in the running now. Actually, that's when your number 2 vote comes in. So the people who count the votes go through all of the votes again, and they pick out your number 2 vote, and then that goes to them. And that you know, that means that they might reach the quota. So I don't know if we talked about the quota. The quota is the amount of votes that the person needs to be president in this case. So that is, we'll say if 1,000 people vote, then the quota for the president will be 500 votes plus 1. Okay, it's unlikely that somebody will get that straight away. So that's when your number 1 and your number 2 and your number 3 vote comes in. It means that your vote is recycled, you know. So if your number 1 candidate isn't in the running, your vote comes back, it gets another life, and your number 2 is counted, and the same for your number 3. Yeah.
Ryan, you just put up in the chat there that there is a video to explain that, Sarah, that system.
Yeah, it will be coming out soon. Yeah, but you can be the first to see it.
We'll probably release that video, I think, about 2 weeks maybe before polling day. But we'll send an email to you guys and we'll share it with you so that you can share it with people then. It is a good way to explain actually the process, because you can see it, you know, and sometimes it's easier. Well, I find things easier when I can see them. I find it easier to understand. But you know, Megan, I should say as well, if you only want to vote for one person, that's okay too. You know, if there's just one person that you think that's the candidate for me and I'm not bothered about the other 2, then that's totally okay. But if that person gets knocked out in the first round, then your vote is used up. You know, that's it.
Great question. That's actually very interesting. Are there any more questions there, Megan or Ryan? I think when Conor, I think with the slides, your explanations, I think we've covered everything. Plus, Conor's your 3rd time doing a webinar with us. So I think
brilliant.
So many people around the country now have learned about voting or are interested, and it's just wonderful to see. We see it around I'm very lucky in my own job that I actually get to see that around the country, the amount of people who are now interested in voting. Now, again, we're Down Syndrome Ireland. We have a history of promoting advocacy and voting. Very, very lucky. And I think now with so many wonderful websites, like your own website, it's so much easier to find the information now. And again, if you can't find it, come back to us. We'll help you find the information. Sometimes you might signpost over to yourselves there, Sarah.
Yeah, and we love it. I have to say, working with Down Syndrome Ireland is one of our most favourite things in the Electoral Commission. We absolutely love these webinars. We love the questions. It really helps us to understand the kind of information that people need. You know, it's really wonderful.
And I'll just say to everyone there, I popped it in the chat, follow us on social media. We're very active. We post all our videos, a lot of information. We're on there every day. So if you are on social media, give us a follow.
Oh, thank you.
I just see that additional question there. I'm not sure if you guys spotted, just asking whether there's easy read versions on the candidates' websites. Now, I'm not actually sure if there is. I don't know if you guys know, but I wonder, is it something that people are able to ask candidates, email them, that kind of thing, get in touch with them? Because I think sometimes with other elections, sometimes not everything's on the website, but if you reach out and they feel that it's important to connect, with the people they want votes from or they want to inform, they might be able to support you that way. So if it's not on the website, even as Down Syndrome Ireland, I'm happy to email them maybe and ask if they have easy read versions if it's not readily available. Sometimes candidates and parties do have them, other times they don't. It really depends. But if there's any that someone would like, I can certainly send out an email to them and see if they get back to me, because it is really important that everyone can get the information they need. So I'm not sure if you guys have anything else on that, but I didn't actually see on the website that they do have them, but they might do. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know actually. I don't think so. But I think, Megan, that is a really brilliant idea to contact them and say, do you have this? We would find this really useful, And like it should be something that's readily available for everyone, you know. I think that's a really good idea, actually. Yeah.
That's such a good question, actually.
Yeah.
That's really, really great. Megan, that would be great. We'll get on that tomorrow now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the websites, Ryan, you were saying, I think they're quite new, the websites for the individual candidates.
Yeah, most of them are new, but they do seem to have a lot of information kind of about their history and what their campaign is standing for. So you might find a lot of information, but definitely get in touch with them. We have had a few queries in about this before, and we've just encouraged people to contact them and make sure they kind of know that that information is needed.
Yeah, because like Down Syndrome Ireland, I suppose the Electoral Commission, we really don't mind who you vote for. We just really, really want people to vote and to have their voice heard and to take part in this, you know. So that's why we don't talk really about the candidates. But I do think it's so important that people can access information from on whatever the topic is, you know. So I think it's a really good idea to contact them. Yeah.
Some great questions this evening.
Great questions.
Yeah.
Conor, you covered so much there. I mean, you covered practically everything, but there's just always a few little bits that were quite interesting, you know, good questions. I think, Megan, was there anything else from us? I think Sarah and Ryan, just thank you so much. I think that's it for that's all I can see, Megan and Ryan.
Yeah, that seems to be everything. Apart from a couple of people saying thanks for the webinar and that they enjoyed it. So, you know, well done, Conor, as well, to have done another one. It's a great thing for your CV to be able to say you helped so many people vote. It's so important. So well done. And thanks so much for everyone for joining as well, because it's great. Like, the more people that are interested in this, the more say we have in the country as a whole. So it is really important. And hopefully people on the webinar can spread the word with their friends and make sure everyone, because sometimes people just don't realize that you have to register to vote, or they might want to and have not realized there was a deadline and things like that. So it's just to have that conversation with your friends and family in case someone didn't realize it was coming up so soon or something like that, you know. So these kinds of things help. So Conor's information helps a lot, I think, with a lot of people.
Yes, we're busy looking at the lovely messages on the chat there. But yes, just thank you so much, Ryan and Sarah. Really, really, we really do appreciate it. You know, all the work, and you're always so supportive. And Megan, as you said, thank you to everybody for watching this evening. And we actually know that quite a lot of people are going to be watching around the country after this evening. I know a lot of people couldn't make it this evening. I know myself that there are many teachers around and tutors around the country who will be showing this presentation from this evening.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, exactly. And like that, if people are watching later, you know, and a question comes up that we haven't covered, do reach out, email us or give us a call. We love to hear from people.
So will we leave it at that? I think we've covered as much as we can. And again, any last messages encouraging people to vote, Conor?
Just get out there and go voting.
That's it. That's it. 100%.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely evening.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.